In a landmark decision, the Karnataka High Court earlier this week, correcting the historic wrong of Congress party, wrested the control back to Hindus to appoint their priests to perform religious duties at Dattatreya Peeta shrine. The Congress had given the rights to the Maulvis only to perform ceremonies at the ancient Hindu temple. However, this is not the first time that Congress has been called out in the open for its abject hatred for Hindus. There is a conscious effort on the part of Congress to dilute the Hindus, push them to the fringes, usurp their traditions and customs, all the while cherishing the minorities and mollycoddling them. Hi and welcome, you're watching TFI English, the national socio-political analysis arm of the TFI Media Group. I am your host Isha, and in this video I will tell you about the recent developments regarding the Dattatreya Peeta in Chikmagalur and also about Congress Party's history of targeting Hindu temples to satisfy the minority communities. The Karnataka High Court order on Tuesday reversed a 2018 Congress-era decision and directed the state government to appoint a Hindu Purohit at Dattatreya Peeta, located in a cave in Chikmagalur's Baba Budnagiri mountains. A single judge bench of Justice P.S. Dinesh Kumar ruled that the order entrusting ceremonies to the Mujaffar of the Peeta at the exclusion of Hindu Purohits is unsustainable in law. Reportedly in 2018, the Siddaramaiah government had passed an order overlooking recommendations of the Endowment Commissioner's report and unilaterally appointing a Muslim Maulvi as the priest of the Peeta that dates back several centuries, with Hindus at the center of its history. According to a live law report, the court pointed out the Congress government by stating that the state government had chosen to accept the high-level committee's recommendation to reject the Endowment Commissioner's report, despite the high-level committee report not being free from the vice of bias. The Endowment Commissioner report recorded Bhagwan Dattatreya as the son of Rishi Atri by his virtuous wife Mata Anasuya and as an embodiment of Hindu trinity comprising of the legendary Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva. The report was submitted on March 10, 2010 before the Supreme Court, and in short, the report suggested that a Hindu Purohit shall be appointed by the management committee of the Peeta. However, true to its appeasement style of politics, Congress looked the other way and handed the Peeta and its duties on a platter to the minority community. The Muslims claim it to be the place of Dada Hayat Mir Kulandar and referred it to as Sri Guru Dattatreya Baba Budnaswamy Dargah. They believe that the saint took up residence here more than 150 years ago and brought coffee seeds for the first time to India from Yemen. After the decision by the High Court, the Muslim faction led by one Sayyid Ghosh Muhyiddin Shah Khadri, the hereditary administrator of the Peeta, remarked that he intended to file a writ appeal challenging the order. Hindus wresting back the control of the mandir is a monumental feat, as the Dattatreya Peeta is often referred to as the Babri of South. The annual religious ceremonies are conducted to mark Datta Jayanti, and this is the time when the tensions are at their peak in the region. Meanwhile, the court also referred to the order of the Constitution Bench of the Supreme Court in the Ram Janmabhoomi temple case and stated that faith is a matter for the individual believer. Once the court has intrinsic material to accept that the faith or belief is a genuine, it must defer to the belief of the worshipper. Another mandir in South India that had seemingly been taken away from the control of Hindus by the Congress party was the Mahabaleshwar temple. Immediately after coming to power, the K. Siddaramaiah-led Congress JDS government had announced their intention to bring back the mandirs that were denotified by the previous BJP government. In 2008, the BS Yadurappa-led BJP government had decided to remove the mandir from government control and had handed over the management of the mandir to Ramchandrapura Mutt. While the original trustees of the temple were engaged in discussing with the BJP government regarding changing the duties, the JDS government that came to power in 2013 sought this as an opportunity to bring the mandir under government rule and cash it on its coffers. The Congress falsely alleged that after government shedding controls, Brahmins had taken over the mandir and there was caste discrimination. However, the Supreme Court of India in April earlier this year handed over the management of Mahabaleshwar Mandir to an oversight committee headed by former Supreme Court Judge Justice B.N. Sri Krishna. Reported extensively by TFI on the centenary of the Mopla genocide of the Malabar Hindus, it is pertinent to note the role of Congress in instigating the genocide and later sweeping it under the carpet by altering the history. Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, an influential Congress leader at the time, had intertwined the Khilafat movement with the Indian independence movement to form a fatal concoction that eventually led to the butchering of over 10,000 Hindus in the guise of overthrowing British imperialism. Discounting the severity and anti-Hindu nature of the Mopla genocide, Mahatma Gandhi argued, Hindus must find out the cause of Mopla fanaticism. They will find that they are not without blame. He went on to say, forcible conversions are horrible things, but Mopla bravery must command admiration. These Malabaris are not fighting for the love of it, they are fighting for what they consider is their religion and in the manner they consider is religious. National Herald, the Congress Party's mouthpiece, in an article titled RSS on a mission to disparage the glory of peasant movements to propagate its communal agenda, claimed colonial India has witnessed two major peasant movements, the Malabar Rebellion, which is also known as the Mopla movement of Kerala, and the Titumen struggle of Bengal. Incidentally, the leaders of both the movements were Muslims. The Malabar Rebellion was an armed revolt staged by the Mappila Muslims against the British authorities and their Hindu allies in 1921. If trying to occupy Hindu mandirs was not enough, the Congress and its senior leaders have been at the forefront projecting a theory called Hindu terror. In the aftermath of the 26/11 Mumbai attacks, senior Congress leader Digvijay Singh had accused RSS of the attacks by attending a book launch. Alongside Mahesh Bhatt, Digvijay released the book titled 26/11 RSS Ki Sazish and openly talked about his figment of imagination, that is Hindu terror. Former Mumbai top cop Rakesh Maria, in his book Let Me Say It Now, revealed that 26/11 terror attack convict Muhammad Ajmal Amir Kasab would have died as Bangalore resident Sameer Dinesh Chaudhary with the kalba tied around his wrist that he had not been caught alive. And it would have given the fodder to the likes of Congress leaders to push their Hindu terror agenda. Although BJP is often found wanting as well in reclaiming the glory of the Indian mandirs, the Karnataka government under Basavaraj Bommai has started off charmingly. Recently, the state government prohibited the use of mandir money for any non-Hindu purposes, stating that the finances of mandirs will be used for Hindu causes alone. In May last year, TFI had reported how the Tamil Nadu government asked 47 major mandirs of the state to cough up a total of 10 crore rupees as a contribution to the CM's relief fund so as to aid in the fight against COVID-19. Meanwhile, Kerala's Guru Vayur Mandir was made to contribute rupees 5 crores to the CM's relief fund by the communist government of the state using its proxies in the Guru Vayur Devaswam board. What is more disturbing is the fact that such loot of Hindu mandirs is permitted by the constitution, while other religious communities enjoy absolute freedom from the government in their place of worship. The practice of the government being bestowed with powers to administrate mandirs dates its origin back to colonial India, when the British thought it fit to assume control over mandirs whenever they so desired.